Joe, I'll just start here if I need to.
Yeah, let's go there first.
With the University of Texas, I am not going to debate you that they don't have the talent. I'm not going to debate you that they don't have the coaching staff. I'm not going to even debate you really that Arch Manning's not a better quarterback than Quinn Ewers. What I would debate is look, there also comes a point of them not getting over any humps, right? And I don't know if replacing a lot of these key guys that you can get over the hump. I know that you're bringing Baxter back. I understand that, but you're replacing the offensive line. Joe, can you run the football? I mean, can you simply line up and run the football?
Well, they're bringing back C.J. Baxter. That's automatically, the first answer to that question.
Their O-line got pushed around. So either the guys that are coming back, even Kelvin Banks. Joe, let's call it what it is. There were times during the last season that Banks got pushed around. I don't care what anybody says. It's on film. So there also comes a part where, Wisner had some moments of maybe him missing some holes. I saw an offensive line in the playoff that got dominated in moments by Arizona State. Don't try me on that you could run the football when you're not even cracking over 100 against, by the way, the worst run defense in the playoff. It's not as
Arizona State was not. They were not the worst run defense.
Statistically, they were 87.
No. They were in like the 40s. That number was incorrect. They were like, we don't need to go down that rabbit. I'm going to check.
I'm going to go find it. Well, maybe their pass defense was in the playoff. They weren't the worst. Maybe Boise State. Let me back up.
SMU,
Boise State, because SMU was really good at stopping the run, but. You get my gist. An SEC school not being able to line up and run the football.
It's a fair concern, and they were incredibly banged up for the added context of that. But look, this is why I'm buying into Texas, and I've said this. I really think that Arch, him having the opportunity to sit for 2 years and to develop, and then the little spurts that we've seen of him, I really think that he's ready. I think he's ready to take off. You mentioned they haven't been able to get over the hump. We can tangibly see what held them back. It was Quinn Ewers. We need to admit to ourselves. We need to be very blunt in saying that Quinn Ewers was a limiting factor in big games because his decision-making was terrible. It was bad.
Well,
it was a bad decision-maker.
No, they could have gotten over the hump this year again, beating Ohio State in the playoff. They couldn't run the ball. Joe, they
were winning. They were going to tie that game if it wasn't for him getting stripped. That's on Quinn Ewers. We talked about that on the show.
Joe, that's on fourth down. I get what you're saying, but there also comes a point where you're second and goal from the one and you can't score.
Look, Blake,
that's not on him. They ran a toss.
Blake, they're losing. Wait.
They ran a toss. Remember the fumble?
Yes, they did. It was bad. It was
1 yard line. That wasn't on him.
It was bad play calling, and then him getting strip sacked is absolutely his fault.
I get it. I understand. I know, but.
Okay, let me finish.
A first-time starter. I say a first-time starter. I know he started during the season. And look, I've been around Arch Manning. I've been to a lot of his games.
Okay.
Know the mentality. But again, I'm going to lean on this first-time starter thing, man.
Okay.
Like it would bother me.
I think that he is a very unique circumstance, and I don't think he's your typical first-time starter.
I agree.
But I think that what I have this my theme for this top 10 is I'm leaning into the teams that have premier players. That's what I need. Fair. The focus needs to be. I care less about the teams that have depth or well-roundedness, and I care more about the teams that have highly contributing freshmen and sophomores that were top of their position groups. Colin Simmons is going to be one of the best edge rushers in college football next year. Ryan Wingo is a budding receiver that could be one of the best receivers in the sport next year. And I think that Anthony Hill Jr. is somebody that we keep talking about over and over again. I think C.J. Baxter is the question to the problem that you're asking. But their offensive line absolutely needs to be better. Their offensive line does need to be better. Kelvin Banks, Cameron Williams moving on to the NFL. Who steps up? They've recruited really well at those positions. Can they play better there? They have, in a year where it feels like in 2025 that there's no clear answer. There's not. There is no juggernaut to knock off. They have recruited at a high enough of a level going back the last 2-3 years that they're now set up, I believe, to actually get the job done.
Can I make an argument here?
Okay.
You could, not an argument. You could shuffle pretty much every damn near one of these top 10 teams.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of Miami, for me. Outside of
the
my
argument, you can make the argument for him.
I can't make the argument because you're losing two real premier wide receivers, running back. I'm not doing that. And by the way, you got a new DC and your defense sucked. I'm not doing that. Okay. But I literally think that I can make the argument. You're right. There's no bona fide top tier Ohio State talent team from a year ago. We came into the lost season last year talking about, man, Ohio State, they bring in Caleb Downs, Quinshon Judkins. They've recruited. They bring back all that talent that are seniors. This is going to be insane. They bring in Chip Kelly. I could hear that argument. I'm going to give you that argument about my number one. You ready? Penn State. So, in reference to Texas, just very quickly, I can't go there yet. I'm not there yet. I think from a talent perspective, I'm right there with you. If you looked at me a year from today and you said, Blake, listen, Texas is a national. If I went in a coma today and I woke up and you said, Blake, guess what? Texas won a national title. I'd be like, okay, makes sense. But I just don't know that they can do it. Now, I will tell you, Arch did have some moments when he started that you saw on SportsCenter. There are also times against low G5 FBS opponents, Joe, that he struggled. And look, that's to be expected. It 100% is to be expected. But I also know, and I'm not 1,000% sure that I'm going to be sold on. Look, I've seen two Mannings come before. And there's a strong likelihood when this kid's a senior, they're going to be right there. And I'm right there with you. I just don't know if I'm ready to do that yet with a first-time start. I think Arch brings so many different qualities. The running game. He's athletic than anybody that came out of a Manning family other than his grandpa. I do think he's made good decisions. Joe, my biggest concern when you and I talked, okay, was I didn't know, like at the time when everybody built him up in high school, I was like, man, he can't go in there and start. He's not strong enough. He's gotten bigger, faster, stronger. I'm with you. The dynasty is there. The legacy is there. But there's other pieces around him that if I don't know that if they don't get better around him too, Joe, if he's a first-time starter and he doesn't have a running game going, he's not going to supersede like any other quarterback. Every quarterback has issues. And when you cannot get a running game going for him, there's going to be complications. By the way, what is it, week 4 he goes into Athens? Buddy, good luck. Like, good luck. Good luck going in that environment in your first true real road game. It's not easy.
I understand that it's not easy. I with all, again, I